Hello, everyone. How we doing? Adam here from Three Count Radio, and here today. I have, according to Oscar Byron, the slightly bigger one, Anderson Daniels. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. Only slightly bigger. I have to admit, Big Troy Ryan he's put some size on. It looks good. It's gonna a couple of weeks. He'll be a world level power lifter. So I can't. I'll take being the slightly bigger one for now compared to I mean anyone's slightly bigger than Oscar Byron as well. Let's be honest. So
That's true. That's very true. Yeah. I think, yeah, yeah. I was gonna try and be nice there, but yeah.
nah, never be nice to Oscar Byron. Never. John McKinney, we like. Got a lot of time for John McKinney. Great rig on John McKinney. Oscar, though, something else. Something else.
Yeah, yeah. Can't argue either. It was very, very fun having him on just to see him get that little bit wound up from mid to last.
That's what we live for.
Yeah.
That's what we live for. Good lads made to last as well. We like some made to last.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
lads.
Brilliant lads. Brilliant lads. Yeah. They've been on here. Well, Leon himself has been on here twice. I've probably made lost in here once. And yeah, great lads.
Top boys.
Now, as is tradition on my show, I like to open up with a bit of gym talk because, especially nowadays, post lockdown, there's a little bit of a tragedy with the gym. But through lockdown, yeah, well, Troy's huge, but you've been done incredible in the gym yourself. I'd just like to know what the drive and motivation would be because I'm gonna guess you've been working with Troy.
Do you know what? So we train a little bit, not as much as we both like. It doesn't help that we know we both live quite far away from each other. Not as far as we used to, but he's still a good like 25 minutes, half an hour away. And my gym is literally 2 minutes from my house. And then it also doesn't help that I go to the gym at 6 a.m. every morning. That is my gym time. Love it. 6 in the morning, I'm at the gym. Whereas he's like an after work one, which I can't do. As soon as I finish work, that down, I'm done. Front of the telly with the missus. That's all I'm doing for the rest of the day. I'm happy. So I have to go first thing in the morning. Talking about like driver motivation, that kind of stuff. Do you know, honestly, and this is going to sound a bit rubbish, but being honest, like I'm beyond the point of like driver motivation now. I'm just fully in routine and what's the word, like just staying strict to a routine. There is definitely a word for it, but I'm not clever enough to think of it. So I am every morning I will wake up at 5:30, alarm goes off, get out of bed, kit on, bottle of water, protein shake, ready to go out the door, 5 to 6, down the gym at 6 every day, Monday to Friday, every day. And it's just a routine. And if I ever miss that routine, I feel terrible for it for the rest of the day. So I know I have to keep that bang, 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 bang. But don't get me wrong, I'm old. So I'm in bed by 9:30. I'm not someone who can like survive off 7 hours, less than 7 hours sleep. I'm in bed by like 9:30, 10 o'clock every night so I can get up first thing in the morning. It's rubbish. It means the dog wakes up at 5:30 every morning, regardless of what's happening in the weekend. Like it comes with its drawbacks. I'm sure my missus is looking forward to the day where I give up on the gym and just become fat and lazy, which will 100% happen. I'm going down that line. Not going to lie to you. But yeah, it's not so much like drive and motivation, it's structure and routine for me.
Bloody brilliant answer. I am far from a morning person, so that for me, that sounds like torture for me.
Oh yeah, and I'm fully aware like it's not for everyone. I get that 100%. And it's like it's the same advice to anyone who, whether they're like a PT or just like the gym or bodybuilder or whatever, anything in that spectrum, go to the best time to go to the gym is the time that you will go every day or 4 days a week or 3 days a week, whatever your routine is. That is the best time to go. It doesn't matter if it's 6 in the morning, 6 in the afternoon, or 2 in the morning, whatever it is. When you know that you will go as a routine, that is the time to go. Because if you're going to go, then you've won half the battle. The only bad workout is a workout you don't do.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. So basically, for you, it's become a lifestyle.
Yeah, it is. I feel like I'm stealing Shreddy's phrase there, but it's not a gimmick. It's a lifestyle. Yeah, it is. It's very much a part of my day. It has to be a part of my day. Monday to Friday, up, go to the gym first thing, and it's out of the way as well. And at that point, I'm less likely to eat terrible because I feel like I should eat well because I've already been to the gym. Still do eat terribly. I had a Greg's for lunch today. It was amazing, but can't win them all.
Now, very curious. What did you have from Greg's?
2 sausage rolls and a latte.
Ooh.
I had a latte as well. I like a latte.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, good solid little lunch. Good solid little lunch.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you allowed that.
Yeah, yeah, like it's what we had a win at the weekend as well, so we won on Sunday. So I feel like I earn a little treat in the middle of the week.
Great match too. Very, very good match.
Very fun match. I enjoyed that one a lot. There, as much as I want to give Oscar Byron some heat because he deserves it, because he's a skinny little weirdo, very, very talented wrestler. A very talented wrestler. Certainly someone who I think will be a mainstay at a lot of places before he realizes it, before a lot of people realize that he'll be around for a long time. He's very, very good.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, he's one of the ones on the indies that has a gimmick that stands alone by itself. His gimmick alone sets him apart from everybody else.
Yeah, full of personality, full of character, and very, very, very capable in the ring. Very talented in the ring. So yeah, no, I enjoy. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed kicking his ass for however long it was, 20 minutes. And John McKinney's as well. Great rig, John McKinney, but happy to beat him up for 20 minutes. But no, very, very talented. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And they had to, after the match, you had to pull some time in it a bit because you jarred the ring.
See, yeah, that was. This is why you don't put us on first. This is why we're main eventers, not because we're good. You just have to put us on last because we're going to take half the ring down anyway. You might as well put us on at the end. Just makes sense.
Oh, it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, I say it was fantastic. I felt bad watching them struggle to get the ring sorted again, but yeah.
So we were at the curtain. We were done. We were ready to go back. I'm covered in glistening in sweat because it was. How hot was it in there? Like the Guildhall, Stockport Guildhall, and I'm
it wasn't just me.
I'm a big lad. I sweat a lot as it is. Like I don't want to, I don't want to grow someone out, but I'm a sweaty boy. And we were at the curtain, ready to go back, and then it was Greenwood nudges and says, "Can you just entertain the fans a little bit? Just celebrate one more time for us while we try and fix the ring." I was like, "What do you mean? I need a water and a lie down. I'm having heart palpitations here, Greenwood, and you're making me go back out there." Felt terrible. All these lovely people from Stockport paid their good money to see me and Ryan flop around in the ring. And I'm now high-fiving them whilst I'm covered in sweat.
Bloody hell. It was the moment when I was sat there and then you're about to go and then you sort of just turn and go around and it's like, and I look off like, okay. Okay, yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Just see the crew scrambling around trying to push some boards back together. I was like, don't put us on first. That's all I'm saying. Keeps in the main event. That's all you got to do.
You live and you learn. You live and you
learn.
Now, I've watched you for the most part at Future Shock, but I've recently started going LWF as well since its return. Now, when LWF's on, it's usually on LWF and then Future Shock, or Future Shock and then LWF back to back. Is it jarring, or do you find it easy playing heel on one show and then the day after you're a babyface?
So this is something I'm going to give. I whenever I do an interview, I always give a big shout out. So those who don't know, most people will know, but Chris Brooker is bloody awesome. He does. He's very heavily involved in Future Shock. He obviously does a lot of the like the emceeing. Very, very talented speaker. Very, very funny guy. Great comedian. So we've done, as a lot of people have done, of like these kind of promo and character classes with Brooker. And one of the biggest lessons that we got from Brooker is that there's, firstly, what I'd say is the character, as we call it, that Anderson Daniels isn't a character. This is just genuinely who I am. I'm a big, dumb idiot. It's just what I am. And now people always, there's the Jericho phrase of like, be yourself, but turn yourself up to 11, all that kind of stuff, which I fully get. I get that. But like anyone who's played, so before I wrestled, I used to play American football. I was fairly good at American football. I had some success. I was in and around like the Team GB team. Anyone who played with me would know that would see that Anderson Daniels is the same as me playing American football. Exact same person. Sometimes I was nicer, sometimes more horrible, but the person is the same person. It's that big. Anytime you see me do something really stupid in wrestling, it's born out of something I've done that was really stupid in American football. I thought it was funny. So the idea, so that was like the base character. So when we were talking to Brooker, one of the things he was saying to us is that Anderson Daniels whether he's a goodie or a baddie or whatever he's in between. It's not about being a different person or anything like that. It's essentially just turning levels up or turning levels down on certain characteristics within. So, for example, if we talk about LWF, where we're a bit more serious, a bit more aggressive, that is just turning aggression up and turning, calling Ryan mini-me and Pipsqueak down a little bit. Whereas Future Shock, where we're a bit more, we've learned some lessons from Future Shock, where we came in and we were very aggressive, and we kind of took the Future Shock faithful for granted. I think when we came in, that's more of a case of at Future Shock we know when we have the crowd on our side, we have better success. We lost our first 3 matches at Future Shock, all 3 to the Young Guns, because if it works well once, just shove it down the fans' face and give them more of it. Whereas we were very aggressive and very kind of close-minded and narrow-minded when we were there. But when we kind of opened up and relaxed a little bit and got into it and enjoyed having the fans on our side, suddenly we found success, and we've won 4 matches on the bounce now, I think it is. So it's less of a it's more of seeing what works at each location as opposed to as opposed to being a different person. It's a very, very long and terrible answer that I gave to that, and I apologize.
No, don't worry. It's not a terrible answer. It's a good outlook to have, actually, because each location, each show will have a different demographic. So you will cater to the demographic depending on what they want and what they're there to see. If you're there and there's a younger audience, there's a lot of kids there, then you'll cater to maybe a bit more goofy, something like that, to cater to the children. But if it's more of a hardcore fan base, then the character work and everything that goes into the wrestling will come out there.
Yeah, and I think me and Ryan really pride ourselves on being able to fit whatever the promoter or the promotion needs. So, for example, at Future Shock, where there's certainly more recently, there's been a lot more tag teams that come through. There's obviously not many there's not many big guy tag teams anywhere, but there's not many big guys at Future Shock. Everyone's just a very horrendously, annoyingly talented wrestlers, incredible in the ring. But in terms of big, beefy men, slapping meat, they don't really have that. So we do a lot more of the power stuff. Go somewhere like TNT, where they have some big, beefy men. They've got huge guys from top to bottom, and to the point where someone like Simon Miller, who is jacked to the tits, is one of the smaller guys. So there we do less of the power stuff, and we find other ways to show what we can do and bring something to the audience.
Yeah, try and stand out. That's the sort of thing that will get you on shows as well.
That was the much shorter, less rambly way of saying what I was trying to say, and it's far more eloquently put.
It's something similar I was saying to Ethan the other day. Ethan Kelly.
Good lad.
Great lad, yeah. Great lad.
We like Ethan Kelly.
Yeah, fantastic lad. 18 as well. It's insulting that he's that talented.
Disgusting. People shouldn't be allowed to start wrestling until the 27. I had to wait that long. Everyone else waited on. It just seems fair. Young Guns the same. Young Guns take a decade hiatus. Yeah,
I'm with you on that one. I'm 25. I'm only just starting myself.
Yeah, you're a whippersnapper. You got loads of time. Loads of time. Sorry, I interrupted you. Ethan Kelly. Apologies.
No, not at all. It's fine. We're on about the little things, because I've only been training 1 month and a half, give or take. So I'm not a master by any means, but you learn very quick that it's all about little intricacies in wrestling. It's tiny little things, and as long as you can nail them, everything else will just come together. And that's
absolutely. And I think that's the hard thing to bear in mind. And it's something that me and Ryan have struggled with in the past, is that because we are big people, not just in size, but also in personality. I've said it a million times, big dumb idiots, big dumb idiots. So we love to do these big grand things. We think that's whether that's in the moveset stuff or just in personality stuff. But actually, there is the little things that those tiny technical details that you forget about. But I'll hold my hands up very openly and say I forget that stuff all the time. But it's you were saying you've been training a month and a half, you're not a master. I mean, there's guys that have been training or wrestling for 20, 30 years that aren't a master. I honestly don't think there's such a thing as a master in wrestling, because wrestling evolves all the time. Wrestling now is not the same as it was a year ago. I mean, this last like 2 weeks is the most blatant example of wrestling now is not what it was a month ago, let alone a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So yeah, as wrestling evolves, as it changes, it always changes. So you just have to learn and adapt with it, and not every adaptation will be right for you as the individual. So sometimes you have to know what you should stick with, what you should twist, where you should change, where you should, stick to what you know, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think there's never, if you always keep the viewpoint of I'm not a master, I can learn more, regardless of how good or long you've been wrestling, you'll always find success.
Yeah, even the best are willing to learn. Even the best are learning every single
100%.
day. Yeah,
100%.
And you never ever learn if you close yourself off like that. If you close yourself off and go, like, I'm this good at this, I'm great, and then it's more of an ignorant mindset, because then you're closing yourself off to learning new things, and then that's when other people will catch up.
Yeah, I think if you the view I've always had in everything is that if you can get 1% better every day, in 100 days, you won't even recognize yourself. It's just that constant little improvements every day, whether that's in the gym, whether that's fitness, whether that's knowledge, technical stuff, all that. It doesn't have to be wrestling; it can be whatever you want it to be. But if you get 1% better every day, suddenly, like I said, 100 days, you won't even recognize the person you were 100 days ago.
Perfectly put. Yeah, perfectly put. And you mentioned Brooker. You mentioned Chris Brooker. The man is a legend. I had an entrance class, first ever entrance class at Future Shock with him the other week on Monday. Oh my God. It's the first time ever dipping into that foray of the creative side rather than the pro wrestling side. And that of course the pro wrestling is quite important, just a bit. But the creative side, the character side, getting to work up here to bring more of myself out, that was so fun. Like, that's the side I'm really into.
Do you know what, as well? I think it goes both ways in that everyone is always desperate to learn the in-ring stuff. Desperate to learn the in-ring. Everyone wants to know how to do a suplex or a body slam or a German suplex or an F5 or whatever other Brock Lesnar move you can think of. But everyone's desperate to learn that stuff. But everyone forgets about the character side of it, and the entrance. And entrance is so important. I mean, the cliche is that you should treat every show that you do as if no one in the crowd has a single clue who you are. Which is true and it's false, because especially in the Northwest, you kind of get that returning bubble, and they will drive everything forward, and that's always very, very helpful. But I've always found it that our character side, especially for me and Ryan, was rubbish until we got better in the ring, and then as we got more confident in the ring, because I knew that when I first started wrestling, the first time I walked to the ring where was it? It was like Leicester or somewhere like that, Hereford way. I can't remember where it was. Well, anyway, I was walking to the ring. I wasn't confident in myself as a wrestler in the ring. I was very, very nervous, didn't know what I was doing. So because I was so nervous about that, I just had ignored everything else about being a wrestler. Everything else that comes outside the ring, completely ignored it, and was rubbish. Just rubbish. I had rubbish gear. I was a rubbish wrestler. I wrestled Ryan actually in a tag match. I was against him in a tag match in the main event, and I was rubbish. But as you get more confident in the ring, and it doesn't mean you have to be a master, but just that level of confidence in the ring that you're not worried about what you're about to do as you step out there, that the entrance and the character stuff and all that becomes so much easier, because suddenly you're not thinking about what you're about to do in the ring. You're just worried about, making sure that the people who you want to cheer you are cheering you or booing you, or, you're making little kids cry or whatever it is you're meant to do, that kind of stuff. That gets so much easier. So when people always say kind of like, they get nervous about their entrances or about cutting a promo or whatever it is, like I mean, wrestling in itself is it's a confidence trick. It's what it was. It's what it was born out of. It was a confidence trick. So as you get more confident, it gets so much easier. It's just a confidence thing. And if you approach an entrance if you're meant to be there, whatever you decide you're going to do, whether you're going to give it a big come on, yeah, let's go, you're going to clap along, whatever it is, if you're confident with it and act like you're meant to do it, everyone else will believe you.
Yeah, confidence is key.
Confidence is key.
It's a lot of it's like the even if you're not confident yourself. It's like the fake it till you make it. If you look confident, if you
100%.
say something with conviction, people will believe you.
I live by fake it till you make it. I honestly think it's the I wish I had that attitude when I was 18 to have that confidence, just be like, you know what, I'm going to learn to do this, and I'm going to make everyone believe that I can do it, and I'll figure it out on the way.
Yeah, that's exactly how it should be. It's easier said than done, but it's exactly how it should be.
Yeah.
Now, I got 2 words from Brooker when I went to sit down after my entrance, and that was follow that.
That's what you want to hear.
It meant the world because Danny Proper went first, and he had about 50. He had 15 songs to choose from because he couldn't narrow them down, and then they went right. Who wants to go first? And I was like, straight away, and everyone was like, "Whoa, you've got balls!" I'm like, I don't know if I've got balls. I just want to get it over with because I stood up and I swear to you, I had noodles. I had wet noodles for legs. I've never felt that jelly legged ever, literally ever. And I was walking in my entrance. So I'm proud of it. I'm very proud of it. I was walking in my entrance. I could feel myself concentrating just on staying stood up. So I was not nervous.
And that's, yeah. And do you know what? Nervous energy is a good thing. Nervous energy is always a good thing because it's still energy. It's still, as long as you can harness it properly, you can make yourself fly with nervous energy. Like you think about the biggest wrestling spots that have ever happened, all that kind of stuff. You don't think they were like Jeff Hardy or the Hardy, let's say the first TLC match at SummerSlam, they would all be bricking it, thinking about what they were going to do out there. But it makes things happen. You just, nervous energy is a great thing if you learn to harness it, because you'll always get nervous at wrestling. Always. Everyone's nervous before they go out. I don't care how long you've been doing it. You learn to harness that into just energy, makes things so much easier.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Speaking of character work, I know we've glanced on this a little bit, but which one do you prefer doing more? A good guy or bad guy?
No preference at all.
No preference.
No preference at all. Like I said, I think it does come. It generally comes down to the fact that, you know, Anderson Daniels is just me. It generally is who I am. Like there's a plethora of American football players out there in the UK who think I am the biggest swear word out there, because that's just what I loved, winding people up, and I loved chatting nonsense, and I loved, you know, giving people the business. But there's also, I'll have teammates who have like sworn by. It was like a team captain for a long time, all that kind of stuff. I could lead people, you know, which is the quintessential baby face, is, you know, to be someone that people will follow behind. So yeah, like I have no preference because it's not different for me. Yes, I shine a spotlight on different attributes, but the Anderson Daniels at Future Shock on a Saturday is the same as Anderson Daniels at LWF on a Sunday.
Fair play. That's a really good aspect to have. It's a really good outlet to have as well, because it makes you versatile too.
Do you know what? It's so much easier as well. Like I love gimmicks that are purely fiction. So like the Undertaker, for example, or Bray Wyatt and the Fiend, all these kind of, like these ones that are, you know, they're pure fiction. This is not who they are. I am not good enough to do that. I just do not have the ability to do that. I can be me, and I think I'm quite entertaining. I hope I'm quite entertaining. If not, you know, I'm sure I'll run out of bookings very, very quickly. But you know, that's what I love to do. Right? It's like I said, it's a lot easier when you can just go out and be yourself. And if that's, you know, the side of myself that is a bit of a knob, that's great, and I'll get booed. Or if it's the side of myself that, you know, is all right, I guess, I might get some cheers and life's good. But yeah, it just, if there's any advice, which I'm in no place to give advice, because who am I? I'm not important in any way, shape, or form. Any advice to who are struggling to like find their character, just be yourself and find that one weird thing that you have that is you deep down, and just shout that. Like because I was at the second session, you know, you're talking about Brooker's entrance session. I was at the second session.
Oh, well, yeah, I didn't see you.
I literally, I'm always late. You know, when Brooker says, make sure you're on time, he's talking about me. It's me he's talking to there. Which is not intentional. I work hard. Leave me alone, Brooker. But yeah, there was a lad there who has gone through a few different gimmicks, and then he kind of did like a bit of an anime thing. for what he was trying this time. And Brooker said to him, like, are you into your anime? And he was like, yeah, I guess so. I was like, mate, lean into that. Like, no, don't worry about whether anime is cool or not. I was like, we're all sat in a lockup on a Monday evening working out how we're going to walk, pretend we're going to walk, what our entrance is going to be before we do this fight with our friends with the roof's leaking. Like, none of us are cool here. Let's not worry. I was like, when you find that thing that you like is about you and it's unique and it's different and you're passionate about, just bang, lean into that, because that's the easiest way. And then, because again, this is another Brookerism. And I think who did he say it to? It was at Future Shock. It might have been Joe Kessler, but I'm not 100% on that, so don't quote me on it. But he said to him, just before he was about to his entrance, he said, what you do now is not what you're going to do for the rest of your life. So just try things. So even if you start off with something that you're very confident and passionate about and just throw yourself into that, and over 6 months it evolves into something else, that's fine. Because if it's evolved there and got there from where you started, you know you'll have that confidence and that ability to do it. It's when you try and like jump into something completely foreign, like, you know, you're an 18-year-old student and you're trying to do a taxman gimmick or something like that when you've never paid tax for a day in your life. That's hard. And it's not impossible. And if you're good enough, you can do it. That's fine. But it's a very, very hard thing to do. Whereas if you just find what you enjoy and you're passionate about and work yourself around that, then everything's a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah. It is that side. I'm 100% just, I always, you know, when you're thinking of wrestling, when you're younger and you think of getting into it, you vision yourself, don't you? And you vision yourself in it and all that. We all do it. It's the promo and entrance and all that I'm thinking of all the time. It's always promos, it's always character. Because I want to be the best wrestler I possibly can be. That much is a given. Everyone does. But a massive goal of mine when I'm to break in is to be one of the best characters. I want people to remember me character-wise as well as in-ring wise, and that's because I've got, as soon as, because I was awake, it was late when Brooker posted about the entrance class, and I literally got the ping. Oh, booked. There you go.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and went, I'm gonna prepare for this, because you mentioned Attire. I'm like, ooh. Now I've not gone out and splashed money on gear and everything like that, but I got these glasses and I got a jacket, like a gold sleeveless jacket with a hood and everything, right, full on loud gold, not subtle in the slightest. And I just went all out. I just went through it, and I thought of my entrance. I planned it all out. Everything was planned. I just went for it, just full on, bang, there, done. And it's the most fun I've had. And it's so good. And I'd love to give a shout out to one person as well, Ryan, who I trained with him. He was at the show, actually, the other day, at the Future Shot show. He was doing sound. He had like dyed pinkish hair.
Yeah.
Great lad. Brilliant lad. He did an entrance, right? Now, it's with the curtain being blown open in wrestling. You watch wrestling, it's like, oh, you bastard, you this, you that. But in your mind, you're like, yeah, he's great in, you know what I mean? So you don't, it's rare to get that visceral hatred. I wanted to slap him. His entrance was that sleazy and that heelish and that disgusting. Just by his entrance, I was like, okay, when's Joe gonna come out and just, or Luke, when's Luke Jacobs or someone like that, or Rich Ray gonna come out and absolutely rip him and do one?
I think so. You said there, which I think it's a very good point to make, is that, so obviously if you get into wrestling, becoming a wrestler, be the best wrestler you can in the ring. Be absolutely, train as hard as you can, work out, get everything right, learn, listen, all that kind of stuff. The in-ring stuff is super important. But my view on wrestling as a whole, and in terms of character stuff as well, is that it's very, very unlikely that, let's say I'm on the typical Future Shock card. Am I going to be a better wrestler, in-ring wrestler, than Chris Widray, than Big Guns Joe, than Luke and Ethan, than Joe Kessler, than X, than Y, than Z, than X, and blah, blah, blah? Probably not, because they're really silly talented and they've been doing this a long time. And I will always be trying to get to their level, but whether or not I'm going to be able to, am I going to be remembered on this show as the best in-ring wrestler on the show? Probably not. It's unlikely. It's like I could be different. I can do different things, but they are, especially people like Ridgeway, Young Guns, etc. Like levels. There's levels to this thing. However, as you were saying, like people will still remember your character.
Yeah.
Best characters in WWE, WF, WCW, AEW, TNT, etc., etc., etc. Our favorite wrestlers are very rarely the best wrestlers. Like there's people like, Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, these kind of examples, which are different, etc. to the rule. But I don't think there's not many people who would say that John Cena, for example, was the best wrestler in the world. And let's not get into a pipe bomb here, but you get the point that I'm making. Or Batista, for example, another one. Was he ever the best wrestler in the world? Maybe, maybe not. But was he an awesome character? Absolutely. Like, were you ready to like run through a wall for him because he was the good guy? Or were you ready to, like you said, like hoping he got the absolute piss kicked out of him in 2 minutes? So like that side of things, whilst absolutely you should always train to be the best wrestler you can be in the ring and be the best version of yourself, whether that's physically or technically or whatever it might be, there is such a concentration you have to have on making sure that your character, whoever that is something that is memorable and is something that people are ready to cheer for or to boo or to whatever you need them to do for you.
Yeah, I always lean towards The Miz for this sort of conversation, because are you going to look at The Miz and think, I'm going to get a 5-star match out of him? Probably not. But he's one of the best characters in wrestling, in my opinion. His character work over the past decade has improved more so than most others. You hate him. You love him, but you hate him. It's amazing.
I will even go as far as to say that it's the 5-star scale is obviously, it's a very weird thing to try and judge a match on, because let's not get into a whole debate on that thing. But for example, if the point of a match is to make you either love the result so much that you get out of your chair and cheer, or hate the result so much in terms of the person who's won, boo the house down kind of thing, Miz is the perfect person for Miz Girl. You look at, like, we're talking about what wrestling is, and it's entertainment. Miz Girl is if you were talking about reactions, that is a 5-star flipping reaction, because that was because of the Miz's character. That wasn't because the Miz has the best wrist lock in wrestling or the best ankle lock or whatever. That was the character was so good that this girl was visceral hate in her eyes. And again, I will hammer this. This does not mean you get the opportunity to park the wrestling side of wrestling. In terms of as much as anything, like it's hard to be good and safe and to do all this properly. You have to put all your hours into it, but just do not neglect the character work, because the character work makes it so much easier. And there's a reason Ridgeway, for example, is so good, is because he has the ability to wrestle that well and be Chris Ridgeway, where he's either gonna kick your face in, or he's smash mouth, or he's hard as flip, all this kind of stuff. Like, he has that side to it as well. But yeah, just never ever just ignore the character side, because it will get you so far just on its own.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. I always say, you can watch a random match. So you go back a few decades and you watch a random match, you've not got a clue the story that's built up to that match. Not got a clue. It's just got to be a match. But say you watch the build up to Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, and you watch that, and you've watched it from the start, and all the history that's built up in that story, and then you watch the match, and you build the story for the year after, and you watch that. That's when you're hooked, and because they've taken you through the entire 2 years of massive build, as opposed to zero character, zero story, and just a match. Like, the in-ring wrestling is so clearly so important, but the storytelling and the character work is so vital, because it can make or break a feud.
100%. I mean, there's not even a feud. I mean, at our level, you talk about just a show.
Yeah.
Like, if your a show is 6 matches, 7 matches, wherever it is, let's say a standard show is 6 matches. If you have 4 really good matches where everyone's booing, cheering, and they're hating, all this kind of stuff, if the 5th match is a really good technical match, but the crowd doesn't want to boo or cheer for anyone, that's such a lull going into the main event. Like you have to pick back up, unless that match is like a 5-star classic where you can not even get away, but like, you know, like maybe you've got away without the character stuff because they're so enthralled in the actual match itself. And even then, you need like Billy, the 7-year-old who's come to his first show, probably won't appreciate the beautiful transition from a wrist lock to a front face lock into a Kimura or whatever. Like he wants this person, he wants JJ Webb to get the piss kicked out of him because he's JJ Webb and everyone hates JJ Webb.
Yeah.
Or they want to see Luke and Ethan, you know, the big fiery underdogs. They want to see, like, it's, just do your character work on character stuff, and it's fun. It's fun pretending to be The Rock. It's fun pretending to be John Cena. It's fun pretending to be Shawn Michaels.
100%. Yeah, like you hit the nail on the head. Simply put, it is fun.
Yeah,
it's just fun. No need to overthink. Just fun. As you said earlier, a group of lads or women sat in some little hole in Manchester, practice entrances or practicing promos. No one in there is gonna be like, "Oh, that's stupid," or "Don't know about that. That's a bit nerdy." No, they're all gonna be like, "What's that? Oh, that's awesome. Go do it."
Yeah, I live for it. Anything different, I'm all in for different. Give me different every day of the week.
If you look at Matt Hardy, he's one person. If you look at all the gimmicks he's had in the past, he has an idea, throws it at the wall. If it sticks, there you go. That's my dog. If you can hear that. Yeah, character work. Do it. We digress on character work there, but I'm not complaining. You and Troy in the ring have, it's quite a given, just some big dudes, quite a given. Do you have some innovative reference? Like, Troy has Hurricane Ranas, you did a sunset flip over the ropes. Someone your size doing a sunset bloody flip. What's the thought process going into doing these moves? I'm gonna guess you practiced them beforehand.
So obviously, as we got through lockdown, once wrestling started up again, the same as a lot of schools, but the Future Shock PC especially you essentially train in bubbles. So you had to train with the same person every week. You had your same training slot, you trained same group, etc., etc., etc. So me and Ryan were bubbled up for however long it was that we were in this bubbly formation thing. So it was just me and Ryan kicking piss out of each other for months on end. But it also meant that because say for example, I was training with a cruiserweight, for example, whatever cruiserweight, pick someone, anyone. Am I likely to say to him like, yeah, there you go, Ethan Kelly? Am I likely to say to him like, right, Ethan, come here, I'm going to try and do Hurricane on you, let's see how it goes? Probably not, because he's probably going to look at me and go, well, I'm about to die now. Like, this is the end. Whereas me and Ryan were like, yeah, let's do it, see what happens. So we would literally every week we'd see something, we're like, let's see if we can do that. And do you know what? More often than not, we could do it. And if you think we've reached the peak silliness by doing a run or a flip over the ropes in the seam, oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. We've got some bits left away. Do you know what? And honestly, it goes back to what we were just saying before. We do them because they're fun. Yeah. It's fun to do them. It makes me laugh because Ryan is a very like a wrestling purist, traditionalist. And big guys should be big, and little guys should be little, and quick guys and all this kind of stuff. Wrestle to how you are. You give him an idea for a flippy spot, and he's all in on it, 100% straight away. He's like, "Yeah, we'll do that." So yeah, and like for myself, we are quite good at wrestling to our who we need to be. So, for example, Future Shock, we can do a bit more of the fun stuff because we like to, we'll work with the crowd to give them more what they want. LWF, we know we've had success by being aggressive and not letting our opponents breathe. We kind of tone down on that stuff, and we're much more ground and pound. We use our size, we use our weight to our advantage more. So again, it depends on what success we've had where to how we do that kind of stuff. But what I will say is that we've got more bullets left in the chamber. You haven't seen everything yet.
I am very glad to hear that because that just makes me look forward to more. There's one spot that Troy does that I don't care how many times he does it. It pops me. That's the military press, and someone runs over. It just closes down.
Yeah.
I don't care how many times. I can just watch a full match of that. It pops me every time.
there was a period where we would just do like all our matches were just press slams or variations of the press slam, and I was like, "What we do? How we ended up here? We're just doing press slams now."
And now you're doing flips over the rope. I look at the ropes and think, yeah, and I'm good, thanks.
I haven't botched it yet. It'll happen. I'm aware it's going to happen at some point. At some point, it's going to go wrong, and I'm aware of that. I accepted that. But so far, if I can do it to Oscar Byron, I think I can do it to most people.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, so the closest thing I've come to a high spot or top rope move per se is running into the corner from inside the ring, grab the ropes from the corner, and you just jump over onto the outside. That's the closest I've gotten.
A little vault.
Over, yeah.
But that's how you start. And honestly, it builds. So I didn't do an Asim for years before I had the confidence to do it. Years and years. It starts with little things and build up. And when you realize you can, I can do this. I wonder if I can do this. Oh, I can do this. I wonder if I can do this. And then it builds and builds and builds.
Yeah.
Or you'll just Ryan who'll just see something on Twitter and be like, right, I'm gonna see if I can do this. And you just pray that it comes off.
He's a madman. Brilliant, but a madman.
literally the definition of super athlete. And I'm aware I'm very biased when I say this, but he's an actual freak. And I'm going to ride those coattails as long as I can do.
I would myself. But yeah. Yeah. It's good that you mentioned cruiserweights actually, because I'm curious. With you being bigger guys, I get the feeling you like to wrestle smaller people because it like big versus small and you can pick them up. But I'm just curious which ones, if there's some sort of preference match style wise between wrestling smaller cruiserweight-esque sort of wrestlers or another, say, big house fighter.
Literally no preference. Honestly, like it's wrestling is wrestling. I think it's very easy to get too granular on styles and like, oh, what styles mesh and what styles don't and this kind of stuff. Wrestling is wrestling. If you can, it's just find the ways to entertain the crowd. I think there are that, it's like I said, it's always fun to wrestle smaller, flippier guys because we get to do more of the bigger stuff, and also generally we're a better post for them to try and get their offense in and stuff like that. But at the same time, like, who doesn't love a hoss fight, and who doesn't love seeing two bulls fucking go head to head and smash? And then like technical guys, I always think it's a really interesting mix when we have obviously we do big powerful stuff. You get like a technical wrestler. Suddenly that's a very interesting style because obviously it's an interesting one in that quite often they're generally seen as two slow types of wrestling. Obviously technical is going from hold to hold to hold. There's a lot of ground-based stuff like that. But then suddenly when you're ground-based and then whoop, suddenly you're 10 feet in the air because I've lifted you up deadlift style from a whatever. Yeah. It suddenly adds different levels of intrigue and that kind of stuff. So there's no style of wrestler that I enjoy working more than the other. There's none that I enjoy less than the other. Each one is a challenge. Each one has its own challenge. And it's exciting to find ways to be successful no matter who style does what.
Brilliant answer. Yeah, brilliant answer. I like that because you have such an open mindset to anything in wrestling, and I believe that's how it should be. Because as well as we mentioned earlier, if you're close-minded, you lose opportunities just to get out there and have fun and try different things.
Yeah, a match should be a combination of both styles. So, like, let's say technical as an example. Technical versus big guy shouldn't be 90% technical with 10% big guy stuff, because you're just going to see my fat ass flopping around trying to do a front face lock, and it's just going to look rubbish. But in the same way, like big guy versus little guy shouldn't be 90% of the big guy throwing the little guys around, and they get a runner in, and maybe they miss a 619 or whatever. Like it has to have that both sides of it. And I think when you find that combination, like that sweet spot, it works.
Yeah, 100%. It always helps based on who you're against as well. Yeah,
that's the same as anything. It doesn't matter about style. That's just wrestling.
Yeah. When you mentioned technical, I personally think of Ridgeway because he's such a massive hybrid, but he's, in my opinion, the best technical wrestler going, especially on the indies. He's on the indies my favorite, just in ring. It's a different feel. There's a presence. straight
Yeah,
up. As a
I mean,
presence.
yeah, that's the perfect word for its presence. Absolute
Yeah.
presence. I think it's like, Ridgeway does not need me to put Ridgeway over. Like everyone knows how good Ridgeway is. Let's be honest, and a
Yeah.
very very good coach as well, as you see with people like Young Guns, Big Guns Joe, and Joe Kessler, and Keenan as well. I've not put my boy Keenan over yet, which is terrible of me.
Legend. Great guy.
Really good guy. Got a lot of he is someone who, again, I will ride the coattails of as long as I've already told him that when he's rich and famous and millionaire, I will carry his suits for him. I have no issue with that. Yeah, so like Ridgeway, but yeah, that's the exact right word for his presence. Presence. If you, and again, it doesn't need to be Ridgeway. Obviously, is I don't want to say, I think strong style's the wrong word, but like hard hitting and technical, and that kind of style. So King's Road is probably a good way, or Royal Road is probably a good way of describing it. But you don't have to. It doesn't have to be that to have that presence. There are Grado is the perfect example of this. You think about, and no, we joke, but
He's
he
great.
was the most over man in the United Kingdom for a long time.
Yeah.
You talk about presence. That man had presence, and he was almost the opposite of Ridgeway in terms of wrestling style. Presence, and that's not something you can teach. Presence, that's something you just have to gain it. And again, it's confidence and it's all sorts of different things. But yeah, no, presence is a very good word for Ridgeway. Yeah, good job that one.
Thank you. Do you have in the further future? Do you have any goals or ambitions? Of course, we're coming close to the end of the year now. So, what are Anderson Daniels or Synergy's goals and ambitions for the future?
So I'm probably a bit different to Ryan on this one, because I did get into wrestling late. And the reason I left American football is I had a lot of injuries, and I came into wrestling where obviously injuries never happen in wrestling. We would have thought that would happen. So my goals as such are more like I have a lot of smaller bucket list kind of types of goals where I'm not too worried or concerned about like how high I get in the wrestling echelons. Do I want to main event WrestleMania? Yes, obviously. Who doesn't want to headline WrestleMania? And I will do everything I can to make that as achievable as possible. But I have lots of little goals where like there's people I want to wrestle with, or shows I want to wrestle on, or types of matches I want to wrestle, or do this and some of them are really nerdy. Like I'm desperate to do a TLC match because my favorite match of all time is TLC 2 at WrestleMania, whichever one it was. I can't remember. Wrestling's hard.
X7 was it?
So you get it. Wrestling. It was
like
so that's one of my goals. Is I'm desperate to do one of these guys. And in the same way that a year or 2 years ago, one of my goals was to go through a table because I'm a mark and I want to go through a table because who doesn't love seeing a wrestler go through a table, and all this kind of stuff, and wrestle in main events. I've done that. I've wrestled in title matches. I've done that. Now I want to win a title, but you get all these different little goals where if I fell down the stairs tomorrow and I tore my ACL and that was the end of my career and it's all over for me, I would have not a single regret in wrestling because I just do it to enjoy it, and I find the little wins that I get on the way and we get there. But in the same vein, if my career lasts another 15 years and my wife is now very mad at me for wrestling till I was 36 at that point, again, I have the same attitude of just doing it to enjoy it and finding these little things where I'm like, yeah, I want to do that, so I'm going to go do it.
Fair play. It's a positive outlet to have, and I really, really appreciate that. It's a very, very positive outlet to have. It's different. Wrestling's different. It's very it's niche, extremely niche, and like we always get those people who don't understand it, and like if you don't, I'm not going to explain it. You won't get it. It's very niche, and if you love it, you love it. If you hate it, you hate it. That's fine. But it's so great, and if you can, like yourself just say, if you can remain positive about every goal that you have, large or small, yeah, yeah, it's brilliant. Absolutely
just
brilliant.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Always enjoy it, as long as you enjoy it. And do you know what? I always had it in my head for a while that wrestling fans are just as one type, and let's not go into what a wrestling fan is, but you get what I mean. Like there's the wrestling fan, but actually since I started wrestling myself, like obviously my wife's come to shows and I've got friends who've come to shows who would never ever come to a wrestling show in their life, would they? Hell, Like, there's no way. But they come to support, and it's very, very kind of them, and it's very good of them to come. And actually, they're all there. Like, that was amazing. Like, I loved this, and it's annoyingly, it's very rarely what I've done, which I will tell them off for. But they buy a T-shirt, so I can't really have got them. But like, they'll always find something different to enjoy in wrestling, whether that's it could be literally anything. It could be my wife's favorite match, and this is the first indie show I ever went to, and I took it to. And I either just started wrestling, or was just about to start wrestling. And it was a Future Shock show, and I can't remember who was on the card, but the first half main event was Rampage Brown versus T-Bone in a street fight or whatever. Well, you get it. And they just beat the piss out of each other for 25 minutes. And my wife went, I'm gonna swear, went fucking nuts for it. Absolutely nuts for it. Loved it. And I realized very quickly at that point that she was never gonna be impressed with my wrestling. So I'm probably not gonna reach that level of ability because it's Rampage and T-Bone. But would I have expected my wife, the data analyst, to come in and be like, yes, I'm all in on Rampage Brown and T-Bone beating piss out of each other for 25 minutes? Probably not. But then, I've got a friend who comes to a different one and loves seeing Tom Farewell versus Davey Getsky in like a 20-minute technical match. And then another one that comes down and like seeing this or seeing that. And you get like, it's just, whilst they like we always think of like, we enjoy a show as wrestling fans, like, oh, that was a really good show, or it wasn't a good show. Actually, when you get people from outside wrestling coming, they're like, I like this bit. And that's all you need, because that's wrestling. The wrestling is a variety show. It's all different types of stuff. It'd be really boring if it was 6 matches of fat, overweight tag teams trying to press slam everyone out of the ring for 20 minutes. And it'd be really boring if it was, 6 matches of cruiserweights, or 6 matches of technical, or 6 matches of X, Y, and Z. It's that variety show that makes it awesome. So when you get people who aren't wrestling fans, in the biggest quotation marks ever, if you're listening to this audio ever, audio only, that keeps people coming back because they find that one thing that they like, and they're like, yeah, I can come back to that and I'll enjoy that again.
Yes. The amount of people I've seen, right? The amount of times I've been, because my first show was at 53-2 in Future Shock 2017. Pete Dunne won the Adrenaline title. So it was a while ago, but my mum, we'd watch WWE, we were fans. We went to one show because I'd heard of Future Shock and I'd heard of Lana Austin, and I knew Pete Dunne. There you go. There you go. Lana, I've told Lana, but she is a massive influence to me even finding Future Shock, because I knew who she was without even knowing anything about the indies. I knew her name and I'd seen her online. It was her match against April Davids, the match before she won the title of April Davids, the one that I watched. That I was enthralled, and I think Lana is one of the best not to be signed to a major company in the world. I think she's that good. And at the end of that show, my mum got up, walked off. I was like, where you going? Oh, getting tickets. There you go. And we've never looked back. And because of work, my mum has been to more indie events than I have.
But this is what I mean. Like, it doesn't. Not every wrestling fan is going to be the person that buys tickets for every show. Bang, 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 bang. They might have one show that they go to, and that show might only run 4 shows a year or whatever. And they'll come back, and they won't come back on their own if it was just them, but they will go with like a couple of friends they enjoy with and all that kind of stuff. That is absolute. I was going to say it's fine. It's better than fine. It's amazing, because these are people who, if we talk about what the point of being involved in anything is surely to make it better than when you started. Yeah. So if the wrestling scene grows and someone who went to 0 shows a year goes to 4 shows a year, like, that's an exponential growth. And it's just, it's just finding things that you enjoy and enjoying wrestling, because they said wrestling's awesome. It's dumb. It's really silly. It's really nerdy. It's utterly pointless half the time, but it's fun. So enjoy it.
Perfectly put. Couldn't agree more. I am well aware of how nerdy I sound. I am with my mate, my closest friend in the world. His name's Brandon. I've gotten to know some of their friends that he knows online on Discord, and we're all gonna meet, and we're all gonna play D&D for my first time ever. Nerdy, and I love it. And I'm known as the wrestling guy. If I had a medal, I'd wear it. I'm happy with that. I'm the wrestling guy. So that's brilliant. I'm known as that. I take that with pride because I love wrestling. It's dumb, it's nerdy, it's amazing. You get to make believe as this amazing superhero character for say about 20, 30 minutes you're out there, give or take. All for synergy. Probably about 4 different appearances on RWF, and we get to hear the amazing theme 4 times in one show, which I cannot get enough of.
It's a banger.
My mum will have been waiting for me to mention that. She told me to mention it, actually. It's an absolute bop. It's brilliant. As long as you're out there having fun, that translates to the fans. And then the fans will then have fun.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's what we're here for. It's entertainment. Same as in it. And people get caught up on WWE calling it sports entertainment. I have a theory, which I can't remember where I heard it. I heard it somewhere else. So it's not my theory, but I claim it's my own theory, so deal with it. That, to be honest with you, near enough anything that is professional sport is sports entertainment. Like, you look at I'm a big NFL fan, as you shocking, who would have thought? But like the NFL, they had their first game of the season last Thursday. They had Ed Sheeran do a gig beforehand. Like, it's sports and entertainment. That's literally what it is. It's sports and entertainment. They're together. If it's fun, people enjoy it. It's the same as any sport. If people look miserable playing cricket or golf, which are typically quite boring sports to watch, but if the people you were watching look like having the worst time in their life, no one would watch it. Yet you get millions of people that watch the cricket every year, and millions of people that watch the golf every year, and snooker and bowls and whatever else. Like, it's entertainment because it's fun, and it's fun because it's entertainment, no matter if it's objective, subjective, or anything in between. Like, it's just, if you have a good time doing something, other people will have a good time doing it too, because none of us are so unique that we are the only person who likes this, whatever it is. Other people like it too. So if you enjoy it, I mean, you talk about D&D. I love D&D. Things like Critical Role or Dungeons and Daddies or whatever else, like, that is people enjoying playing D&D, and literally thousands of people tune in every week to watch or listen to someone else play a tabletop game. Like, think about that in just terms of, like, if you took that out of context, telling me that I'm going to watch someone else roll a 20-sided dice to see how their adventure goes, like, without any context of, like, what is happening here. But because they enjoy it and that passion comes through, which, if we're going full circle now to tell the perfect fucking story in this match of a podcast, is that if I enjoy it and I'm passionate about it, that radiates outwards, and then everyone else enjoys it. Like my character, which is just me having a good old time.
Yeah. Bang on. Absolutely bang on. Couldn't put it any better myself. Just, if you can take anything from this podcast, everyone, just have fun. Enjoy yourself. Just have fun.
Life's way too short.
Agreed. So, Anderson, do you have anything for the future to plug? Socials?
Everyone asks me this all the time, and I'm terrible at it. We've got social medias and stuff. The Anderson Daniels on Instagram, Synergy Faction on Instagram, Candace_Daniels on Twitter. I've got to change that. It's got to be the same as my Instagram. Do you know what? I work in social media and I'm terrible at social media. It's awful. Upcoming shows, there's Future Shock, LWF, PWFU in November, OPW's back with this next show that I forgot the name of, which is terrible of me. Where else are we at? I should be better at this, but we're, like, to be honest with you, if I'm going to plug anything, just go and watch wrestling. Whether that's on the network, whether that's on YouTube, whether that's, ripped on Daily Motion, wherever it is, go and enjoy wrestling. Have some fun with it. Buy your favorite wrestler's t-shirt. Not synergyshop.bigcartel.com. We've got very little stock left, so, buy a t-shirt maybe. Or if not, buy your next favorite wrestler's t-shirt, because I know we're your favorite. But, just get involved. Enjoy the community. Be part of the community. Have fun with it. Come down to shows. Have a good old time. Honestly, wrestling it's just fun. It's the best. Enjoy it. Don't overthink it. I dropped my pen. What a way to finish.
On that bombshell. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, mate. Thank you so much for having me, mate.
It was, as you've just said, absolute pleasure. It's been a delight. Thank you very much. And thank you. See you again.